we can hear you.
In this case, we started with the automotive and energy insurance industries. We started with 10 calls a day, and we moved forward months after month, semester after semester. And the first thing we unleashed in 2025, first major step we did was moving to also outbound calls, because in the beginning we were doing only inbound calls. And this unlocked new use cases that are interesting in the market, such as if you want to improve show rates, if you want to do some web callback, like people on a website wanted to be called back and have insights when you're available, or any marketing use case. And this helped us to move towards other industries such as sports or repair services or delivery even. That was interesting. And then we hit the quality wall, because we were pretty much with an infrastructure based on VAPI, and we were doing mostly calls in French, which is not kind of the main language where the voice AI industry is currently developed. So we had kind of to manage the last mile of all the supplier you heard of, like speech to text and text to speech, that are firstly building in the English world. And we had to kind of make sure that all the orchestration between all those providers were working well in French, and trying to manage the last mile. And so this is where we needed to kind of dive in. And eventually we had to actually move away from VAPI, and actually we built on an open sourced infrastructure, and also to provide some sovereignty that will unlock some industries such as healthcare or even recruitment. So that's pretty much where we are now. We passed the 10K calls per day mark, and we are continuing to see the growth. But just wanted to kind of share the fact that in the beginning you struggle a lot, and then you can iterate from this. So now let's bring it down to few learnings. The first learning, I think, is how to manage where you are evolving in a world that is non-deterministic, such as the Gen AI world. This changed a little bit the type of selling. I come from a software selling background, and I had to kind of sell the non-deterministic situation with voice AI. And this led to kind of adapting the playbook, not only in sales, but also in customer support. because you want to switch the mindset and make it more similar actually as what we are used to do when we are selling actually people, where when you sell people you don't sell perfect work, you sell kind of expertise, seniority, you sell but you don't say if X then Y, right? There is a question.
Yeah, it's actually from me. Just want you to give some advice because most of these guys are new to wanting to start an agency or something like that. Like, what's some advice you would give to them?
If you want to start from zero, a new
Uh,
voice agent, that's the question.
yeah, no, like when you want to like sell, like how would you position it and things like that, especially like how you did it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So maybe it wasn't clear in the previous slide, but I recommend you to go as soon as near as you can. Actually the second Hi everyone. So unconscious we switch to the second learning, but the when you start selling, the most powerful weapon for selling is the ROI, right? Like there, nobody can. If you demonstrate a ROI of a solution, then you get a yes. That's kind of the most the best framework to sell if you demonstrate this the ROI. So the best way is to go on an area where it's easy to demonstrate a ROI. So if your customer has an I don't know, he's generating leads or he's having cost because of XYZ, and you are demonstrating to him that with your voice AI solution, you are able to do it at a lower cost, or that you can bring him more revenue. Remember, voice AI is 24/7, and you can kind of unleash segments of the activity that wasn't tapped before because humans are not able to handle that. So that would be my best advice. Does it answer your question,
uh,
Tavisha?
yeah, so I actually have another question as well, and
Yeah.
this is in terms of pricing. Especially for those of you who have agencies, you'll probably know this. Whether to go with the SaaS-based pricing, which I'm familiar that you already are, or to go with the minutes-based pricing, which a lot of people in agencies do, similar to the telecom model.
Right. That's a very great question about the pricing. So pretty much the the first thing you want to do is to be the nearest the impact of your customer. So if you stick to what I said on the ROI, you want to have a pricing that is almost dedicated to the ROI you're doing. So let's say you want new leads. I'm going to package my offer of voice AI and deliver a price per lead approach. And this is where you take the ownership on like making sure that it's going to be working, and then it's going to kind of unleash the velocity of of your cell. The sales cycle is going to be lower if you have a pricing that is near the ROI impact. The more you go lower in the layers of technology, the next one is, for instance, the price per call instead of price per minute. And the whole difference here is the fact that you handle the fact that there's going to be an average duration of call, and this is on your shoulders in this case. And if you go lower, you go for a price per minute, which is already a wrapper of a price per token. So the depending on how much confident and how much focused, laser focused you are on a specific use case, you want to have a pricing that is high or low. Does it make sense, Tavisha?
Yeah, it does. It actually does. That was a perfect explanation.
All right. So to continue in that direction, here is the learning on the ROI. So I talked about it via your question, but there is also a side topic that is really interesting, is the fact that the whole industry is moving in the SaaS industry is moving from a seat-based pricing towards a more a consumption pricing, and so the reality is that if not only for the sales game, but also from the CSM game and how you want to upsell with your own customers, the ROI will be critical. If you are able to display to them directly the information on the cost of or on the revenues they're generating with your solution, they might consume even more. And they always there is always this same learning curve for a customer coming in this industry. They want to try it first and see if it works really, because you told them on the sales game that you are able to deliver this ROI. Then first they want to do sort of a pilot or a test period where they want to see if actually the ROI is demonstrated. And then if they see this, they're gonna spend way more money with you because they are going to understand that it's actually working. So the whole architecture of your relation with your customer, if it's centralized on a ROI, you will have faster sales cycles along the way.
Yeah, that was perfect. What about like if you had like an example from your career so far, or like a use case, like where you actually succeeded or where you actually failed? One failed, one succeeded, which you can actually tell us maybe like something that would be useful to everyone who's attending.
Yeah. Um, so let me think about this. We succeeded. So so one I'll continue with this example of being able to display the performance directly. So we had this customer who was spending let's say 300 euros per month with us for a barely minimum activity. And then they scaled to they multiplied by 5 their spending because they saw the ROI. And so they say, for instance, we're gonna do. So it was an outbound campaign situation where they wanted to engage with their customer bases, and they saw the result, and so they unlock what we call the retry campaigns. So you do one campaign where you're gonna reach out a certain number of people, and then of course there is not everyone's going to reply to the voice AI agent. So you get a lot of voicemail. So there is a whole topic of voicemail detection. And then the if you are able to, in a nutshell, in a few seconds, tell them, okay, if you click there, you can do a retry campaign only on the one that didn't answer. And also, and this is something that is usually underestimated in the industry, but you have a 10% of the people that you try to call that will actually call you back when they have time because they saw they had a missed call, right? So these guys, you don't want to call them again with a retry campaign because you already had them on the phone because they called back in between, right? So the intelligence to be able to select only the one that didn't call and backed, and you of course had voicemail, and do it this with one click is unlocking efficiency for like SMB and mid-market companies that doesn't have the time to go too much in call operation and just want to have a solution that is a middleware and being able to do it with one click. So that's a success case. Do you want a fail case?
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, you can just summarize the fail case and let us know what they can learn as well. Do you all want to know anything? What industries do you primarily work with, you guys? So some of these guys work with consultancy firms and stuff like that. Like, how would you advise them to approach consultancy firms?
Okay, so that's a good question. I'm not sure my answer is bulletproof, but I would recommend to say that the in the consultancy world, these guys are expert on selling uh, AI curiosity and AI experimentation and AI pilot approach. So I would kind of making sure that you have the expertise to be a trusted partner for the consultancy. So I will kind of bet the fact that these guys are able to commercialize your skill sets, but then you need to convince the consulting firm that you have these skill sets. So, like any expertise on the field would be required, and how you manage latency. It's another learning we had, but how you become an expert in latency and not and not only the first layer of understanding, but going a little bit deeper in what's voice orchestration, how you can kind of make sure the voice conversation UX is better to kind of counter the latency, perceived latency. Yeah, I would position myself on an expert mode to kind of making sure that the consulting firm feels reassured that they have a trusted partner to go along with their big customers that want something reliable.
Do you guys have any other questions? Yeah.
Coming up. Give me the mic.
Hi. I have a question.
Hi.
Hello. How does the speech-to-text model perform in noisy environments, like margins and or interruptions? How do you all handle it mostly?
Like voice noisy background, right? For how do
Okay,
you,
noisy
yeah, okay.
background.
So that's a good question. So in voice AI, you have many use cases, right? What I'm talking the most about is telephony, right? It's everything related to the telephony. When it comes to telephony, as you know, people 99% of the time have the telephone here, so they have the microphone that is next to their mouth, right? So the difference in decibels between the sounds that is out of their mouth, between the background noise, is something that most of the speech to text solution are handling correctly at the moment, and the technology is very mature about this at the moment. What is not mature is the use case Vincent was talking about a few minutes ago, which is like you have a video streaming and you have a background music and stuff like this, because then the decibel levels are kind of not that easy to differentiate, and then this is where the speech to text technology and models kind of start to fail and do hallucination and make it really impactful. So I would say that if you stick to the telephony case, it's fine. Just for a sales standpoint, make sure that when you're doing a demo, you ask your the people that are there to hold the phone like they were in a real discussion. So with the microphone that is next to their mouse. That's the only constraint you want to have.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Sorry, take the mic.
Thank you. So, I'm Vidush. So, now let's say we are using using the telephone call center.
Keep the
use
mic
cases.
closer. Yeah, keep the mic.
Okay. So when we are using call center use case, uh, let's say for that particular company, there are more data to be like, like for the AI to talk about. So there are many data. So the context is high. So my question is like, how much is the context window for in your call shift here for this call center agents?
So did I understand correctly? You're talking about like in a call center standpoint, what is the
Yeah.
cost per minute for, let's say, for an agent? No, sorry.
Yeah, not the cost. I was asking about the context window, like for a
The context window.
yeah
Yeah.
context window.
Okay. So that's a LLM topic, right? So
Yes.
So that's a good point. So in voice AI, unlike text-based chat bot,
Close the video.
the latency is critical, right? So what you want to have is the lighter prompt as possible, because if it's lighter, then it will be handled more efficiently and more quickly by all the stakeholder in the orchestration chain, including, of course, the LLM. So what we talk about is like uh, cognitive saturation for the LLM. So you want to have a light prompt, so then you get lower latency for the LLM part. So this is why actually the context window at the moment with all the LLMs are way higher than what you need for a voice AI conversation. Not really due to the fact that you are using high windows, but more due to the fact that you want to make sure the latency is low, so you don't want to bring a big context window when you are handling the conversation. Does it make sense? Do I reply to your question?
No, I was asking like now when it comes to call center agents, so the call agent, voice agent should talk in a specific way, right? So let's say there should be data like, let's say if I ask, can you please tell me about your product or the services that you guys are providing? So we have to give all the services in the LLM itself, not in LLM. And for the voice agent, we have to give those, right? I was asking that context window, not the system call.
Okay, so
Like
are you kind of talking about the RAG or any way to enrich the discussion?
exactly, I was talking about
Yeah,
that.
okay. So I partially answered the question before, but I will complete this with a good practice is the fact that you should have kind of a workflow that unleash the part of the prompts that are relevant for the conversation that is ongoing, just to make sure that you don't load the full prompt with all the questions and all the Q&A and all the deep knowledge in your context window, because otherwise you're going to have longer latency and it will impact the quality of the voice UX. Does it make sense? So load stuff along the way.
Yeah, I get it. So my next question is so that now since you guys are providing call center voice agents, my question is like, is there any place that we can add like specific data sources like the company's product details and all those things for the AI to refer that and say when we ask a question and a customer ask a question over the telephone.
Within call shift.
Yeah.
Oh, he means within call shift. Like he wants to know a little bit more into your product and how it works like that.
Okay.
It's what he.
Okay. So in call shift, you have let me show you. One second, I need to share the correct screen.
Show the full video. It's a mentoring.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
So here is your prompt of your agent, and in the agent you are able to load specific tools. For instance, this one is kind of loading a website that is going to answer the questions, right? And you can kind of manage all your tools here, create new ones, making sure that you can load any information, and then you give your agent more skills to be able to handle more different cases along the way. But I'm not sure it's replying your question, but just the fact that I recommend you to understand that you want to keep it very light in terms of prompting for the voice AI agent, and it's better to favorize tool calling, external tool calling, whether it's RAG, whether it's a document, whether it's a website, whether it's whatever, to make sure that the conversation is going to fine tune along the process. Yeah. Thank you.
I have another question. Like,
Okay.
does it your voice agent supports Sinhala, Tamil, those languages?
I'm sorry. The mic is really low. Maybe Tavesha, you have
Yeah.
your phone. Can you bring
Yeah.
the phone near the mic?
So, does your voice agent support Sinhala, Tamil, and all those languages, like native languages?
Yeah, good question. No, at the moment we only support European languages, but if you have a case, if you have a business case, and you feel free to reach out. Our technology is an orchestration technology, right? So if we find a good partner together of text-to-speech technology, we can plug it in our system and it will work in your language. So it's not a big gap for us to work with you if you have a case, but we haven't had any customers so far, so it's we need to do the step together, the first step.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Well, actually, that was another discussion I wanted to bring up because I spoke to a lot of like big voice AI companies in the past year, and they were like Sri Lanka's like not having any demand, and I think I brought this up earlier in a couple of events as well. That Sinhala is not a language that they would wish to explore, but we already have come up solution and stuff like that, but that's not for enterprise. That's at the basic level. What we plan to do now over the next 6 to 12 months is create 11 labs for Sri Lanka. A TTS model, a conversational model that we can possibly integrate into systems like CallShift. So that Sinhala is like much wider globally because there are Sri Lankans all over the world. You've got businesses all over the world using Sinhala as well. So yes, that was a suggestion and a solution that we plan to come up with. What do you think, Maxine? You and Vincent, what do you think?
I'm in.
Hey, if you're in, that's all you gotta say. Anyone got any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
And my question is, I want to know about what are the service providers, cloud vendors that you are using in your systems, and also you previously talk about you use about tool calling, function calling, and rack systems. And I want to know what are the implementations that you're gonna take to mitigate the cost. When it comes to cost, it's a large barrier when we are building the large voice agent in enterprise level. How do you reduce? What are the things, and do you use in-house premises, large GPUs, TPU clusters? How do you actually reduce the cost in your side?
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the last one. So on the cost side, so what really matters in regarding the cost is to do a proper dimensioning of the volume you're going to manage, right? Because at the moment, we are heading in an era where actually the technology is becoming more and more a commodity, right? So the main topic is really more on the sales game, on how you're building the relation and you're applying the right technology in front of your customer and business opportunity, right? So I would really argue that depending on the volume of the calls you're going to handle, you're going to deploy not the same level of infrastructure. So you shouldn't focus that much on price if it's a low volume activity. And if it's a high volume activity, then it's becoming critical. But like kind of let's say it's this way. If it's low volume, most of the cost is going to be the setup and your time. If it's high volume, then your setup and time is going to be low compared to the price of the infrastructure. And this is where you want to have very deep integration. So depending on the case, you're going to speak to the right partner for this, and you will be able to unlock different levels. Don't go too deep in the layers of technology too soon, because it's a rabbit hole. You're going to lose a lot of time, and you prefer to spend your time in what is the scarcity at the moment, which is the sales game, not the technology game, which is becoming more and more a commodity.
Yeah, I got a perfect answer. So, do you use any open source models in your system? Have you implemented the French, the native language, on your side?
Yes, so we have so we are an orchestrator, right? So at the moment, the main configuration we're using is a combination with DeepGram, ChatGPT 4.1 Mini, and Cartesia for the text to speech. This is our flagship configuration at the moment that has the best efficiency of latency of it's the combination that works pretty well for any use case at the moment. But this is moving every week pretty much. So like I don't think it has a huge value in itself, and we are able to plug and test new things. And as we have a lot of data sets, we can compare and see if it's a good configuration or not, and challenge it together.
I know this is a very common question that a lot of VAPI users usually ask, but like you said, you just gave the whole stack. But what is the most optimal, lowest latency stack for VAPI users that they can use? Like, say, STT, TTS, LLM. Like, what's the best model you can suggest for like agency owners and for people who are like here dealing with corporate customers? Like, what would you suggest?
Like the only component so DeepGram is really good. Honestly, I was really interested in Anthony presentation because I think they have a good value proposition as well. So I would recommend to test their solution as well for when it comes to speech to text. Then there is in terms of LLM, it depends on the use case. If you need a certain level of intelligence, for instance, let's take a use case which is appointment scheduling. Appointment scheduling is not that easy because there is a time constraint to handle. Like there is past, there is future, there is availability slots. They can be like massive amount of availability slots in the future, but you want to stick it to a very smooth conversation where you're gonna just say 2 slots to your customer, to your caller, because you don't want to overload with massive amount of available slots. So this kind of intelligence, you need a certain level of model, where I recommend the 4.1 Mini at the moment because it's the good balance between latency and cost. But if you have a use case where it doesn't require appointment scheduling or kind of very small use case, then you can go with even lighter models such as 4.1 Nano, or like there is many others. You can see the benchmarks on website that are this expert on that. And on the text to speech, if it really depends on the language. So on our case, we are doing a lot of French, so we are using a lot of Cartesia because they're good in the balance of quality and latency. But depending on the language, you could switch to another provider.
Yeah, my next question is that's something interesting that you mentioned about the STT, LLM, and TTS pipeline. But have you ever tried the black box voice to voice APIs?
Yeah, yeah. That's really nice. That's really great for sales demonstration because it's really smooth. You win a lot in terms of latency because everything is hosted in the same place, etc. So I think it's a great area. I find it a little bit not ready for industrial needs and for enterprise needs just because of the lack of integration possible. So in this world there is actually two type of kind of speech to speech players. There is the speech to speech player that are doing actually really voice audio waves that are confronted, like the models is trained on waves and they listen on waves, and so they have like the smoothest experience in terms of voice that you can find. But it's a bit sterile given you stick to the prompt because you cannot move toward interactive with function calling or stuff like this because it's your function calling is not in voice, right? It's in text, right? So you get limited in the level of interactivity at the moment. The technology is not mature for that, but there is also the speech to speech that are actually doing a pipeline orchestration, but on a local level. So they have the speech to text, the LLM, and the text to speech localized on the same server in the same space, so they have very small latency because it's in the same area, and this is something promising. Yet you still have some interactivity. So from my experience at the moment, there is a gap in terms of reliability of infrastructure for speech to speech. But to be honest, we don't know if in 6 months or in 12 months it will not be something else, right? There is a competition in the both technology.
Yeah, thank you for your knowledge and your insightful answer. And that's another question from my colleague. Hello, once again, Sri Vidus. So I just want to ask, like, how do you, like, what you guys do to mitigate the HIPAA and GDPR regulations? Like, what can you brief it, like, how it's safe to use the voice agent, and like when it comes to, as you said, like, sorry, when it comes to uh, patient, like when it comes to medical field, healthcare field, like when a patient is giving some sensitive information, how things are handled and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So depending on the industry you're evolving, you want to know what are the constraints in terms of regulation. So if you are doing in healthcare, there is a lot of stuff to know, such as you want to be very clear on the ability to anonymize the data that you handle. So, for instance, if your patient is disclosing basic information as a patient, but such as his disease or his medication or his personal information or stuff like this, you want to make sure that when you store the transcript of the discussion after the call, you have replaced these areas with stores to make sure that you have nowhere in your storage the ability to retrieve this information that is personal. This is a constraint on your process about just the transcript part, and you see, so this is really that's a example in the healthcare. But in general, for GDPR, you want to make sure that people can opt out. So let's say someone is saying, I don't want to call, I want to talk to you anymore. You want to flag it and make sure that this bot isn't able to call back this number, and it has to be automated because otherwise you get at risk. Or you want to know that you need to disclose the fact that you are a virtual agent in the beginning of the discussion, or you want to disclose the fact that you are going to record this discussion or not. So then you need to manage the fact that you're recording or not. So each thing like GDPR or healthcare is a different topic where there is different regulation depending on the geography. I'm mostly talking of European, but geography. But there is slight difference in the US or other parts of the world.
Yes, good. Thank you so much. Hello. Yeah, I was wondering, how do you handle the hallucinations? Like, how do you monitor it, and what kind of QA automated tools you use before it reaches the in person?
Good question.
Is there
Yeah. So give me an example of hallucination you have in mind.
maybe like I want to talk about a certain product, and like while the conversation is building up, and there's some additional feature that I wanted to talk, but it takes me to a totally different scenario, or which I never asked, something like that.
Okay. So
But I know that the hallucinations are not risk free because we can't guarantee, but there might be precautions that you all might have made in call ship area, so
yeah,
to handle it. Like,
yeah, good one. So so this is where it comes the approach of like improving over time. So maybe I can show you this video.
Hi everyone. So on call shift we have this.
Hold on. Am I sharing the screen? No, I'm not sharing the screen. There we go. So it's linked to what I told previously on the fact that you are coming in a non-deterministic area, right? It's generative AI, so the hallucination can come. So the best medication for this topic is bye Vincent. Is to make sure that you are able to have a quality process. So when it comes to testing, you're going to be kind of checking each type of hallucination and solving it, and you can improve over time. Pretty much, that's the main topic you want to change. Hallucination will happen. The only thing you can control is the level of quality that on average you get lower and lower hallucination situation, right? So that's the only thing you want to control. And hallucination can be in the speech to text part, or it can be in the LLM, or it can be even in the pronunciation type with the text to speech part. So there is many type of hallucination, and it's a big word where we put a lot of things that are not working correctly. This is where you want to actually stand a little bit differently and say, I'm going to monitor, control the quality, and improve it over time. And this is where, for instance, we have a feature here that's enabled.
Hi everyone. So on call shift we
that
have
enable
this,
our users to
improve button
improve
that
agents
enable you
really
to
easily
give feedback
by
on
putting
the
some
agent. So
feedback.
either
So
it's
I have an
feedback because
hallucination
you
on
identified
this. What did you
issue
suggest
with
me to do?
the agent,
And it
or is
will
because you
kind
want
of
to replicate
prepare
it
the
in
meta
another way. So
prompt
here I'm
that
taking a
will
use
be
case where I want to
used
replicate
for
something I
the
built that spends
improvement.
hours.
yeah, the video is speaking, so I couldn't hear what you said. Just now.
Do you hear me
The
well?
video, yeah, now I can hear you. The video is playing while you were speaking.
Okay. But it doesn't matter on the sound, so I can cut the sound, to
For
be
an
honest.
agency, I want to replicate it for another agency. So I'm going to just write this down. But what is very interesting and the secret sauce here is that it will create a meta prompt that I will be able to paste on my favorite LLM I'm using, let's say Claude, let's say Gemini, whatever. And it will include best practice in terms of prompting. It will include the current system prompt. It will include also all the transcript of previous conversation. So it will kind of identify the weaknesses of the voice AI and improve it. So then you have just a step-by-step guide on what you need to modify to make sure it works. So yeah, that's part of the way we help no-code people or people that just want to focus on go-to-market to go faster. But if you're already using another platform, you can kind of still come here and steal our meta prompt. We're updating it all the time with our customers. Hope you liked it.
I'm not sure you heard well, but what did you share? I'm going to stop the sharing here. There I go. All right.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your time, Maxime. This was an absolute pleasure.
Talk to you soon.
Oh, there's one more question for you, actually.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Actually, I don't want to ask about more about AI. Actually, I'm an undergraduate student, and also here some people are working as undergraduate students. So, if you want to mention something about undergraduate students, I mean something about the projects, what other project is suitable for those kind of students. You can here mention about them.
Happy to help. Yeah.
Currently, in undergraduate level, we are doing some projects. The problem is those kind of projects are already exist. So all are outdated. So if you want in companies, if you consider AI-related companies, they are really looking some first mind. So if you want to like mention about something, you can.
Okay. Maybe we can.
Wait, I actually have an answer for that.
Okay.
So he was actually asking for a project for his undergraduate degree, right? Yeah. So I think when everyone's going to either 11 Labs or Vapi or trying to build like an AI receptionist, I think the only thing that's differentiating the good from the great right now is imagination, and like what can actually make it look good in front of the consumer. For example, for this event, which I'll show in a bit, I built a roast bot. So you can come pitch your startup and it'll act like a VC to decide whether you stay or whether you leave the stage. Those are things you don't think of. When people think of voice AI, all they think of is inbound call or outbound call. They don't think of the other use cases. For example, for another event, I made voice AI business cards where you just scan the QR or from an NFC and it'll create like a digital twin of you that you can speak to. Another use case that you don't think of. So it's unconventional things like that that actually is like breaking the market right now that people don't think of. So just use your imagination. There are so many ways that you can manipulate voice AI for your use. Do you have any other question? All right. Thank you so much for your time, Maxime.
You're welcome, and talk to you soon. And congrats again for the great event, and enjoy the evening.
All right, appreciate you. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
I think that is all from our speakers, but we actually have the section where we actually show that what I built that you guys can come pitch whatever you're building to.